Hi everyone and welcome to Positively Kimmy. I am Kimmy. If you are new here, welcome. This is a safe space. And if you're one of my returning subscribers and my besties, hi guys, how are you? I hope you're all having an amazing day. Welcome to What's Up Wednesday, where I tell you a little bit about my life and the chaos that is Kimmy, and you leave me comments down in the below telling me about your life, and we get to know each other better, and we become true besties. And that's my goal for this channel is growth, of course, and getting to know each and every single one of you on a more personal level. Sorry, I don't have my makeup done completely today, so if I look a little tired, I apologize. I'm going to be doing a review of a palette later on today, and I didn't want to wear that until I did this video first. So I apologize again for that. But you already know what we're going to be talking about today. And boy, when I tell you, it's been a week. All right, the first thing is the baptism. I don't know if any of you want to know about it, but I have to tell you because there was so much stuff going on. We had to be at the church for my grandson's baptism, and we had to be there at 12 o'clock is when it started. So we got there around 11:45, said hello to everyone. He looked adorable. They had him in a baby blue suit, the cross that me and his grandfather got for him. It was just perfect. And he was wearing these baby blue shorts with these suspenders, and they had his initials on the outer pocket of the suit, and inside his shirt had his initials on it also, and it was just so precious, so precious. But we get there and there's a lot of people there, and we're when you do baptism, you do them with other people who are baptizing their babies at the same time. There was only one other child there. The other one didn't show up, and we had the nicest time. So the church went incredibly smooth. When they put the water on my grandson's head, he started to cry, but by the time they got him back to the pew, they gave him a lollipop, and he was very happy and did not fuss and carry on. He was really, really good, and I was so happy because I figured the dramatics, this child is dramatic. I don't know where he could possibly get that from, but he's very dramatic, and when he gets something on his hands, he's like, but so I expected him to be with the drama and the crying and the crocodile tears and the whole bit, but once they gave him the lollipop, he was fine, and it was awesome. So I have the nicest pictures, and I don't know if I'll be able to put them in this video, but I have one of 4 generations because it's my mom, me, my older son, whose baby it is, and my grandson. So we have a picture of the 4 generations all dressed up in church, and it was wonderful. The night before church, my daughter-in-law was going to go and go to the restaurant that we were having the after party at, and she was going to go decorate. So I was like, well, if you need any help, let me know. And she was like, I would love that. And my sissy was here. So the 3 of us went up, and at 10:30 at night, we're decorating this room. And it came out beautiful. We had a candy station for the little kids because there were going to be 4 kids there. Then we had a candy station with homemade pretzels, on chocolate-covered pretzels, and everything was in white and blue. And we had little floating tea lights on the table, and there was this blue runner. We did such a good job. It was absolutely gorgeous. My daughter-in-law is so great when it comes to decorating and planning parties. She's just amazing when it comes to that, where I get stuck and I don't know what to do. She's just giving me instructions and I'm following them, and within a half an hour we had everything done. And it was in this private room which was attached to the restaurant, and we just left and we were so excited. So we called the restaurant from the church and we're like, okay, can we come up now? And not being told anything, nothing like that, they said, oh, you have to wait like a half an hour. Now, people came in from out of town, and we're like, okay, what do we do with these people? And she's like, go up there and wait, do what you want, to go back to the house. By the time we got up to the apartment, to have people come up there and do whatever, and then left, it would have been longer than a half an hour. And then all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, we get a text from my daughter-in-law saying, oh, they said we could come up now. We went back to my house because, of course, Mima had to poop and pee. And by the time we get up there, I noticed that things were not going in the room that we originally had, which was nice because the kids could have gotten down and danced. It had a lot of room. We had the table set up in a horseshoe, so there wasn't like separate tables, so people felt together, and it would have been really nice. And they're moving everything. Well, when I tell you that room was at least 122 degrees, because when we got up there, the candles we had put out, we did the long candles also, and we had different shades of blue of those. By the time we got up there, those had melted, they had broken. They had to put separate tables all together, and then at the far end, they have a door into another room, which was sold because they had what's it called? Not an engagement, a baby shower party in the other room. So we're sitting there, and now the 4 people or 6 people that she invited, who were the friends, got stuck down at this other table and not included in our table. So that was the first thing was that everything had melted, and we weren't called about that. Now, they were supposed to get in there at 10 o'clock in the morning. You think they would have called her and said, listen, there's a problem. Things have melted. I mean, we had everything set up and looked so beautiful, but they did not do that. Then we get up there, and they're scrambling to put all these tables together. And now we have to leave 6 other people at a different table who were her friends from daycare. And that was not right, because you couldn't even get out of the space that they had us in. I was on the outside, but like my son, my daughter-in-law, his mother-in-law, they were all against the wall. And you could not get out to like socialize with these other people that we did not know. So it was a complete disaster. Then they bring out the food, and the first course was tomatoes and mozzarella. They had no balsamic dressing on it. They didn't give us like anything, so it had no flavor to it. I can do it much better with the balsamic glaze. That's all they needed, was a little balsamic glaze on it. I could have done much better. The next course they bring out was a Caesar salad, had no dressing on it. Like, there was a little bit of dressing. I'm exaggerating when I say no dressing, but it had no flavor. You tasted the lettuce, you didn't taste any dressing. So my son asked for a little bit more dressing. A lot of people there had to. So that was the second course. The staff was very rude. We would ask them for water and or whatever, and they acted like you were bothering them. So we were annoyed at that. The next course that came out was penne alla vodka. Now, I am Italian. I know what al dente means. I know that it's a little hard, but this had a crunch to it. Like, it was so undercooked that there was a crunch to the pasta. And you should not have crunchy pasta. It means it's undercooked. It's not al dente. It's under freaking cooked. So that was the next thing that happened. That was the next course. Then they bring out chicken parmesan. It was okay, but it was so saucy. Now, I like a lot of sauce. I cover everything in sauce, but it was so saucy that people were scraping it off of their food. The mozzarella that was on there was like paper thin. The chicken cutlet was paper thin. You didn't even need a knife to cut it, just a fork. So it was tender, it was cooked, but it was drowned in sauce for flavor, and I make a much better chicken cutlet parm at home. And my son, who is a chef by trade, was looking at this, and he's like, you've got to be kidding. He's like, Ma, what do you think? And I'm like, it's a nice place, but you didn't get anything you asked for. We don't have a private room. The kids can't run around. You don't have friends. The friends are at a different table altogether, and we can't see or talk to them and include them in the conversations we're having. I was like, the food is just subpar at best. And then they come out with another chicken dish. Excuse me? You guys know this is going to happen. They come out with another chicken dish, and it was chicken that was baked. It was burnt. It was burnt to a crisp. You put it on your plate, and like jars of charcoal fell off of it. It was just not good. And for the kids, they got chicken tenders and French fries, and the kids could just like, it was an all-you-can-eat thing, so it was in a big platter. My grandson did not like any of the food. He was unhappy with all of it. He just kept spitting it out. The French fries is, I think, is what most of the kids ended up eating because the chicken tenders were too hard. Well, we get this bill, and I look at my ex-husband because he was paying for it, and I was like, listen, you got to go up there and say something or I will. And he's like, no, I feel weird about that. Well, we went up there, and from $1,600, it ended up costing about $600. So we got $1,000 off the bill, but that wasn't the point. The point wasn't the money. We had no problem paying the $1,600. The point was everything was subpar, and we could not talk to people who are other guests. Everybody was just, you came home and you were starving because you couldn't eat most of the food. Like the tomatoes and mozzarella, they didn't even have salt and pepper on the table, so that you could have just added a little bit of flavoring to it. It was, like I said, subpar at best. So that's how the baptism went. The church part was excellent. He was amazing. It was great. The after thing was complete disaster and complete crap. At one point, we did let the kids go in the other room that was 122 degrees. They finally put a fan in there. We had music in there, and they were allowed to dance because we had the candy table in there. Most of the candy ended up melting. And that was stuff that was in hard shells. Like we got blue and white M&Ms. And on top of that, the linen napkins they gave us were pink. So it looked like a baby shower. Everything was blue and white. And then all of a sudden we get these pink napkins. It was just not good. But we had a beautiful day. The weather was gorgeous. I wore a dress. I can't believe I wore a dress. And it was a nice way to spend with family. I just felt bad for the people at the other table. So that was that. Then I was watching a video. So that's the end of the baptism story. Then I was watching a creator named Yari_G, and she's a makeup artist, and she was talking about crease-proof your under eye. I think most things crease when you are mature. She happens to be in her early 30s, I think. But when you're our age, you get creasing under your under eyes, and there's nothing you can do about it. There really isn't. I mean, you can try and minimize it by putting a lot of moisture under there and things, but you're not going to get rid of the creasing. So I was like, how do you clean your foundation brushes? And I asked you guys that one time too. And I ended up getting the little bowl that my bestie Rose told me about. But I could not get all the caked on foundation out of the brush. So she told me to use a soap, and this soap's name is ZOTE soap. And when I tell you my foundation brushes have never looked so good, I just ran it under water, and I went like this, and I had one of those mats that you use to just clean your brushes with, and it got all the foundation out of that. So I just wanted to suggest that to you guys if you're having trouble cleaning your foundation brushes like I was, because I had such a hard time with them. But with this soap, you just put a little on your brush and you run it under water, and you have one of those mats that have the different textures, and you just clean it that way. It was the easiest thing in the world to clean. I am so appreciative to her for giving me that advice, because I cleaned all my brushes that I were afraid to clean, powder brushes and everything that I'd been afraid to clean for a while, because they never came back the same, and now they're like brand new and they look amazing. So that was that. Then I've had a leak in my bathroom, and it's coming from the pipes, and it's been going on since January. Okay, we're in June, and this has been going on since January. They come in, the guys who work here, and they tell us what needs to be done, and then they never come back. Well, I finally got fed up with it, and I got in touch with the owner, and I sent him a text that if you do not come in here by this day, I'm calling up the building department, and then I will call my own plumber if I have to and send you the bill, because it's to the point where every single time these people come here, they say they'll be back on a certain day, and they never show up. Well, it was supposed to get done today, so I got up really early, I got dressed. I'm not completely made up yet and everything, but I got dressed, And I'm waiting for the plumber to show up, and all of a sudden there's a knock at the door, and it was one of the workers, and he's like, oh, well, the plumber can't come till Saturday. This has been going on 6 months, okay? And it's annoying. You hear it constantly. I don't know if there's any damage or mold now behind because it's been going on for so long. And they actually are going to have to take the tile off of the bathroom and go in and fix the pipe that way, and leave a piece of plastic up so that we can shower and stuff. I mean, everybody made sure they took showers last night because the plumber was going to be here. It was a disaster. So they're not doing that now, and now it's going to be done supposedly on Saturday, so we have to be home all day on a Saturday, and it's just unacceptable. You know, when you've just like had it with something. So I'm dealing with that right now too, and other than that, it's been an amazing week. I've seen my grandson a few times. He called me up the other day. Well, his papa called me up the other day and said, you know, he's looking for you. You want to come outside and play? It was so hot that day, but I went outside and played anyway, and we're running around and we're having a good time. So good things have happened, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but this leak better be fixed. Otherwise, I don't know where else to go with that, but call my own plumber and send the landlord the bill at this point. And I don't know if I have rights legally, so I will be talking to the building department at another time if nobody shows up and if nobody communicates back with me what's been going on. So that has been my week in a nutshell. We had great highs with the baptism. The soap for the foundation was called, again, ZOTE soap. You find it on Amazon. I got the big bar for $8. It's going to last me forever, and I know this. So it was a really great buy. I will see if I can link it down below. I don't know if I can or not. I'm not good with stuff like that. But I will put the name of it down below so you can see it. And that's it. So I hope you guys have had a good week yourselves and had a little less eventful one than I have with the leak and the plumbing and the whole 9 yards. But I wish you a great rest of your week. And in the meantime, be happy, be healthy, be blessed, and most of all, be positively you, because there's no one else quite like you. And that makes me so incredibly happy. You guys rock. Bye. Love you.